Well, it's like Thanos said, dread it, run from it, but destiny arrives all the same, and now it's here. Or should I say, Masters of the Universe Revelation Season 1 Part 2 is here. So, Netflix is giving us an early Thanksgiving Day treat by dropping Masters of the Universe Revelation Season 1 Part 2 on November 23rd, and they gave us the trailer today. So, what do we think about that trailer? Let's talk about it. We'll break it down a little bit, and I will give you my thoughts and predictions. So, for those of you who need a recap or didn't see the first season or the first half of the season of Masters of the Universe Revelation, Skeletor launches a full-out assault on Castle Grayskull. He-Man responds with all of his friends. They have a big old tussle there in front of the castle. Skeletor gets in. He-Man follows him. Skeletor goads He-Man into stabbing him or impaling him with the Sword of Power, but Skeletor was standing in front of a chest of knowledge kind of a thing, and He-Man's sword unlocked it. It creates this gigantic tidal wave explosion thing that's going to destroy all the universe, and the only way to stop it is for He-Man to absorb the explosion in his sword, which he does, which splits the sword into two halves, seemingly killing He-Man and Skeletor. We fast forward a few years. Teela is now a kind of a random bounty hunter kind of character with a new quote-unquote close friend, and they're summoned by Evil Lyn to Grayskull because the two halves of the sword still exist. They're in two different dimensions, and Teela needs to form a team, go find the swords, bring them to Castle Grayskull so the sorceress can use what magic she has left to mend them, and thus saving eternity. So Teela and her little ragtag bunch, mix of heroes and villains, including Evelyn, Beastman, Roboto, and a few other characters, go on this quest, get the two halves of the sword, bring it back, resurrect Prince Adam in the process. Sorceress mends the sword. Prince Adam tries to do the I have the power speech, but Skeletor manifests, kills Prince Adam seemingly, takes the sword, says the words himself, becomes the new Master of the Universe, and that is our cliffhanger. So the trailer picks up pretty much right where the series, or the first half of the series left off, which is Skeletor is now the Master of the Universe. He has the Sword of Power, and he has made Evil Lyn the Sorceress of Castle Grayskull. Meanwhile, we see that Adam is alive and well. He has survived his encounter at the end of season 1, or the first half of season 1. So already it's giving away one of probably what should have been one of the big reveals, which is, yes, Adam is still here. And I'm certain that this, along with a few other things that it gives away in the trailer, are simply reactions because of the intensely negative fan reaction of the first half of season 1. So this trailer holds no surprises, but it may be still tricking us. Remember the trailer from the first half of the season led us to believe it was going to be something or something else, and we'll get into that. Anyway, so Teela, Adam, and a few other of the heroes of Eternia have kind of formed a resistance to fight against Skeletor and his new kind of world order that's controlling all of Eternia. And Skeletor raised their secret little hidey base, and there's a scene in the trailer where Adam says the sword was never the power, it's just the conduit. He was the spark, and he raises his hand without the sword, says by the power of Grayskull, lightning comes down and transforms him into what you see kind of down there in the corner, this savage He-Man, this kind of cross between He-Man and the Incredible Hulk. And he just kind of goes and wails on Skeletor a bit. Then we get some more exposition from Teela about how Eternia needs a sorceress, and we get a little scene of her reconnecting with her father, telling her that he's always loved her as a daughter, but now she needs to be so much more, and hinting she's the new sorceress, which, yeah, I think we all kind of saw that coming. Then we get a big scene of He-Man proper, another big reveal, I think, complete with his sword and Battle Cat, leading a bunch of the heroes of Eternia against Skeletor and his forces at Castle Grayskull, and that's pretty much where the trailer lets out. So that's it. That was the trailer for Masters of the Universe Revelation, Part 2. So the question is there any fan excitement left for this series? I mean, they clearly let you see all of the big reveals just so you know that Adam's going to be there. There is going to be He-Man. He's going to do He-Man things to try to breathe some life into this kind of like barely breathing on life support carcass of any type of fan excitement that there might be for this show. So that was my first takeaway from watching this trailer is, wow, they are really just showing you everything because they know that nobody's planning on coming back and watching the show unless you can try to convince them that, hey, no, this is still He-Man. But like I said before, we saw the original trailer, and it led us to believe one thing, and then the series was another. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to get into my breakdown and my predictions here. This is the fun part. So before I knew, I don't really have any like inside sources or plot details. I'm not that cool. I'm just going to use my knowledge of having watched the first season and seen the marketing for it to kind of see predict where this might be going. So the first thing I notice is Skeletor's little band of evil minions. He always has this kind of eclectic band of cyborgs and monsters and magic people and stuff that are always around him to do his bidding. And I always liked his little rogues gallery that he has. I thought they were cool. They look fun together, and they're just all kind of these gnarly people. They're cool. They're kind of dumb, and they get their butts kicked by He-Man on a repeated basis, but they're fun. And there is a scene in the preview where you see Evelyn as the new sorceress, and she's gathered all of Skeletor's minions together, and she's basically saying, in this new age, we don't have any room or tolerance for past failures. And that's the only time you see the evil warriors. So my guess is that Evelyn is probably just going to do away with these guys pretty early on in the season. So we're not going to see them. We're not going to see or hear from them anymore. Even in the final battle, the scenes they show the final battle against Skeletor at Castle Grayskull, we're not seeing Skeletor's normal rogues gallery. We're seeing Scareglow and his kind of demon creatures that we saw from episode 4 of the first half of the season. So my guess is they're going to do away with Skeletor's usual band of villains and trade him out for this kind of demonic horde of Scareglows. They'll probably just open a portal and bring them through. And that's sad. I like Skeletor's rogue gallery, so that wasn't fun. Also, the Savage He-Man. So, like I said, Adam transforms himself into the Savage He-Man, and then he just kind of goes and wails on Skeletor a bit. So, my impression or my theory is he's going to turn into the Savage He-Man. We kind of saw the Savage He-Man already. He was spoiled because they showed us the action figure wave or line for this series. And we saw Savage He-Man and Orko were in that. So Orko is going to be back. You actually hear his voice at the end of the trailer. But Savage He-Man, he's more Incredible Hulk than He-Man. He is just charge forward, smash. And so my thought is they're probably not going to be able to turn him back into Adam without that sort of power that Skeletor has. So I think he's going to be this He-Man probably fairly early on. And he's going to charge off, and I don't think he's going to be a hero. I think he's going to be a problem, basically running around Eternia, tearing things apart, trying to get to Skeletor, or just trying to fight, or whatever his motivation is going to be. And part of the season is going to be the heroes are having to track him down and somehow subdue him until they can get the sword to him and turn him back into He-Man. Because we do see him as He-Man later in the trailer with his sword and with the armor and Battle Cat and back in his right mind and everything else. We know that happens. But again, that means that He-Man's not the star of the show here. This is going to be a Teela and other characters show, and He-Man, not only, rather than being dead this time, He-Man's kind of part of the problem, which, if you want to go into the whole woke angle of it, I mean, he's a big, heroic, strong, hetero white guy. I mean, I guess they're very problematic now, and so He-Man, being the biggest one there is the biggest problem there is. So, or at least that's the message that they're going with. Then you got Teela. Clearly, this is still her character arc. This is her becoming the sorceress. And she's going to have to learn to accept her friends, because the first one, she didn't. She was very cynical and jaded and blah, blah, blah. And she sees Prince Adam, who literally died saving her life. And she's like, oh, Adam, you're a jerk. You kept a secret from me. I'm still not talking to you. So that's Teela in this, and she's become the sorceress, so I'm sure she's going to have to shed some of that and, learn to be a better person and trust people. And I don't know what'll happen with her friend. There's a rumor that she's going to become the new He-Man somehow. Based on this preview, I don't think she's just going to get the sword and become him. I think maybe he's going to be done. I think Adam's going to retire, basically, and give the sword to someone else. That's kind of my theory. So, thoughts overall. I don't think this trailer is still very reflective of what the final product is going to be, because again, it looked like a lot of these scenes were cherry picked from maybe the first and last episode of this half of the season. Obviously, the Skeletor and Adam stuff is going to come early on, and I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see He-Man proper until the last episode. So, and then the rest of the show is going to be Tila becoming the sorceress, and them having to track down and subdue the savage He-Man. I think those are going to be the main plot threads. So this still isn't He-Man's show. He-Man is still not the hero in this story. Maybe he will be by the end. So we're going to have to wait and see, because I mean, I have to think as soon as they resurrect He-Man, I mean, the story is going to be done. He's going to be normally in a regular universe. He's going to straighten this crap out. So that's it. That's my thoughts on season 1, part 2. And half the reason I'm kind of doing this video is because I'm going to watch it, because I'm going to talk about it in this video and finally close out this dark chapter in fan history. And I want to be able to look back and see how much of this I get right. So let me know in the comments below if you think I'm right or wrong. If you even plan on watching the show, if you watch the first season, if anything can bring you back, or even if you enjoyed the first season, you're looking forward to part 2. Let me know in the comments below. While you're down there, please hit like and subscribe, help the channel grow. I'd love to have you here as a subscriber. And that's it for me. I'll see you on the next video.